I have some hypothetically good news when it comes to Hedera. Now, what is that? We take a look at this article right here. It says that HBAR goes to space. SpaceX, and yeah, you heard that right. I'm talking about like the Elon Musk, SpaceX, and Hedera to pioneer satellite payment networks. We take a look at also, it continues by saying Hedera could be powering SpaceX to space after multiple key figures confirmed a groundbreaking partnership with Elon Musk's company. Now, we also take a look at this as well, right? This person on X by the name of Oracle, I think I'm saying that correctly, but, apologies if I'm not. Besides that point, this person also stated that SpaceX is sending a satellite powered by HBAR to space this January after a NASA research paper on Hedera. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to this news, it could be great, but there's still a lot of details yet to be, released, in my opinion, when it comes to this. However, I still think that this could be massive nonetheless, because if let's say this is true, allegedly, right? If let's say this is going to become a reality, I'm only assuming this could be so impressive for the future of Hedera, because again, having that involvement with SpaceX, this could be massive, in a sense. When you take a look at Hedera, a lot of the times people like to say, oh, it's doing nothing, it's doing this, it's doing caca things. But like I mentioned time and time again, Hedera isn't focused on gaining hype through athletes, celebrities, social media. That's not what they do, right? They're not a meme coin. They're not some sort of like random nonsense project that's focused on creating, short-term hype for no reason. You know what I mean? When it comes to Hedera, they actually create hype through doing real-world things, which is why I think that Hedera is a project that's going to be around for a very long time. Oftentimes people like to say that, oh yeah, Hedera is only going to be here for like 2 cycles max and it's going to disappear. No, I disagree. Hedera as of right now isn't like in the conversation for one of those like massive projects, but I think in the future, especially after this cycle is over, I think Hedera is going to be one of the most massive things out there. It's going to be one of the, stable projects out there in a sense. So that's why I want to get into HBAR right now before that has happened, because I do believe that Hedera in the future could have that potential to be regarded in a sense like, hey, it's, for instance, a BNB, a Solana, like an Ethereum, a Bitcoin, where it's one of those stable players in the top, if that makes sense. It's not there yet, in my opinion, but it could be, especially when you take a look at the grand things they're doing, the amazing things that they're doing in a massive scale. A lot of other projects out there, they're not focused on this. You know what I mean? You take a look at Solana, its ecosystem, in my opinion at least, right? It's primarily known for 2 things. One is Jupiter, which I think is, pretty good as a, DeFi project. But then other than that, what is famous on Solana? Meme coins. If you think about it, Solana doesn't really have that dynamic ecosystem, if that makes sense. It's known for meme coins and Jupiter. That's just the way to take a look at it. Not bad, considering just how up and coming the blockchain space is overall, but I don't think that's good enough. When you take a look at Hedera, yeah, sure, is the ecosystem, the greatest? I would say, of course not, but they're actually doing amazing things in real life, if that makes sense. Now, when it comes to Hedera, there is something that really excites me, though, when it comes to the decentralized finance aspect of it, aka, the DeFi aspect, and that is something called Saucer Swap. This, I think, could be the next big decentralized exchange. Now, only time will tell, but market cap is still relatively low as of right now. You take a look at its native token called Sauce, or Saucer Swap, and yeah, you heard that right, the name is Sauce. Again, it's a sleeping giant. It had a very big run, had a very big pullback, but I think this right here also could be massive when it comes to Hedera. But again, only time will tell. Now, not to mention, right, Hedera has an A+ governing council, which pretty much defeats everything in like the top 10, maybe, I would say, arguably, probably top 100, because you take a look at its governing council has something called Boeing. I mean, can you imagine Boeing, like the airplane? But yeah, besides that point, you also take a look at, for instance, Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft hasn't been relevant in ages, but still, it's relevant, in my opinion. You also take a look at Mondelez. Their brands have, or should I say include, something like Oreo and Cliff. So that's insane. You take a look at also Google. I mean, of course, we all know Google. We're using YouTube as of right now. So anyway, you take a look at it. When it comes to Hedera, it's a very solid project, but people oftentimes don't understand that. But the way you take a look at it is that it's much better anticipating something is going to grow as opposed to chasing it. Because for me, I've been believing in HBAR for a very long time, ever since the beginning of 2023. It feels like quite a while, even though in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't. But again, it feels like quite a while because throughout that whole time when I was believing in HBAR, for the longest time possible, everyone kept clowning me, saying HBAR's caca, all this type of stuff. But as of right now, HBAR is proving a lot of people wrong. And keep in mind, the bull run, I think, is far from over, because let's say around 6 months to a year from right now, things could be very different and in a much better way, in my opinion, because Bitcoin, man, it's just going ham, you know? A lot of people were like, okay, yeah, we're going to keep going down, all this type of stuff. All indicators, in my opinion, are showcasing that Bitcoin during this bull run could hypothetically far exceed $150,000. You know, that's how crazy this bull run could be. And we haven't seen that 2021 moment yet where everything feels euphoric. We haven't seen Ethereum at the price of $10,000. We haven't seen Cardano's native token called ADA break a new all-time high. We haven't seen this, right? We also haven't seen, you know, something like Bitcoin reach over $150,000. So I think that when it comes to this run, it's far from over. When even Kaka projects are pumping like crazy, I think that's when we'll know that, hey, the bull run is in really fifth gear. Because if something like Litecoin is beginning to break a new all-time high, I think at that point, it's like, wow, you know, if something Kaka like that is even performing like a glimpse of, let's say, even what it was back in 2021, or maybe even exceeding what it did back then, I think at that point, we'll know that the bull run is fully in fifth gear, but it's not there yet, in my opinion. There's a good recovery, but keep in mind, many altcoins, they're still down by a lot. Generally speaking, they're still down 90%, 95%. Even despite the recovery, a lot of things are still down. So I think that there's going to be better days ahead, but it's just a waiting game, and I'm willing to stay patient because I've been through the FTX crash, you know, the Sam Bankman-Fried Alameda Research type of nonsense. I've been through the Celsius nonsense, the Terra Luna nonsense, you know. If all of that was what people went through, right, is waiting like 6 months to a year really that bad? Now, I can only speak on my behalf, but it just doesn't seem that, you know, bad again, because it's going to seem like peanuts. The way I view it is that this is like a 10-mile marathon, and I'm kind of like 8 or 9 miles down. There's just a little ways to go. I'm not going to give up right now, hypothetically, because I do believe there's not that far to go, so to speak, when it comes to this, which is why I'm staying patient. Now, not to mention, HBAR at the price of $3, people like to clown me for saying that. They did clown me several months ago, but as of right now, are they saying the same thing? No. Now people are saying, oh, HBAR is going to go to the price of $10, all this type of stuff. But for me, I think, first of all, that indicates that sentiment can change very quickly. But second of all, I'm going to stick with my price target. You know, I believe HBAR could hypothetically go to the price of $3, and I'm going to stand on that because I don't think that the market cap is too ridiculous. You know, keep in mind, market cap considering current circulating supply would be around $113 billion, so it's not too bad. You know, if something like Ethereum can reach over $550 billion in market cap, why can't HBAR reach over $100 billion? You know, it's not even like half of what Ethereum reached at its peak. That's just the way to take a look at it. Not to mention, $3 really isn't too bad, even despite the price bump, which I predicted, by the way, so I made a good call on that. But I think better days are ahead. But yeah, enough boasting. You know, $3 is still over a 30x from here, around a 32x to be somewhat specific. So it's not too caca, right? And when it comes to Hedera, the technology is fantastic, right? You take a look at Hedera Hashgraph. It uses a directed acyclic graph. It doesn't use traditional blockchain technology. And we all know that a directed acyclic graph, aka a DAG, is a lot better, usually faster, a lot more scalable, improved data storage, consumes way less energy. So when it comes to Hedera, it's amazing in a sense that it doesn't really have any direct competitors, I would say, because again, nothing is basically like it, you know? It's just so unique in a sense that you have that governing council, which is A+, then you also have, again, Hedera Hashgraph using a DAG, and then at the same time, you have, you know, an up-and-coming ecosystem. It's very rare we find something like this, and also not to mention, it's amazing partnerships, like in real life, for instance, right? Just like actual partnerships, not partnering with celebrities or athletes, if you know what I mean. So I think that right there is a perfect recipe for hypothetical success. Now, again, only time will tell, but I think better days are ahead. And again, at the price of $3 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think HBAR is that amazing. And I do believe that this bull run could be fantastic, especially when you have over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research. Man, I can't wait. And around 6 months, a year from right now, HBAR at the price of $3 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.